episode of Monster Men.
Arrgh! Had it in me.
Today we are going to be talking about one of the king daddies in the horror industry, Carpenter, whose songs top of the world.
What?
They did a great cover of Please Mr. Postman.
No.
Why Do
No.
Birds Suddenly Up?
No. Not
No?
Karen. Her brother, John.
Oh, John Carpenter. Okay. John Carpenter.
The god of horror from the 70s through the 80s.
Yeah, we'll go through the list of movies, but why are we talking about John Carpenter besides the fact that we were way overdue to talk about John Carpenter?
Yeah.
You tell them.
I was at the Horror Festival weekend over in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and my room in the hotel was next to the room of one of the actors that was there, Meg Foster, who was right back here.
You would know her, if you didn't know her by name, you'd say the woman with the amazing eyes.
And those eyes are the same. In fact, she was really tan too, so it came out, it was like, she always said she had eyes like a Malamute Husky. Like those dogs, they've got like these piercing whitish blue eyes.
I always felt she had a Kirstie Alley vibe.
Oh yeah, she had that. Yeah, she definitely looked like Kirstie Alley.
And you would know her from They Live.
They Live. Rowdy Piper.
Which, I don't want to jump the gun.
Piper's Corner.
Rowdy Piper, my favorite wrestler. And They Live is one of my favorite John Carpenters, with the greatest line in cinema history. You want to wait to get to that? Or
Yeah, I guess later. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, I met Meg and we talked going down the halls and stuff and the elevators, and I gave her a copy of my book, Forest of Shadows, to read on the plane going home, and she gave me a little signed picture of herself, which was awesome.
Nice.
So, but the whole time I'm thinking, man, if the 13-year-old Hunter could only see me right now, talking to Meg Foster. She even hugged me a couple of times because she said I had a beautiful aura. So cool. Who knew? So that was awesome. That alone was worth the trip to Gettysburg.
That is amazing. So we're going to go through some of our favorite John Carpenter movies. Talk about.
I mean, we were just talking about he's the best that there was for us, for our generation. This guy, when you think about it, created some of the best horror movies of the 20-year.
I'll be interested to see your favorite versus my favorite.
All right.
So should we start with the obvious one?
Halloween?
Halloween. So John Carpenter did Halloween. I don't know what's more iconic. The image of The Shape, which is what Michael Myers is known as. Right. Or the music from that.
Oh, the music is so good. Again, John Carpenter does the music and directs the movies.
If you go to Party City and you look at the Halloween soundtrack things, it's The Exorcist, and Halloween are like two of the staples.
I can't play piano, but I can do this on the piano. Dun, 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 and I get the other pick go ding, 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 ding. I can't do that. See, that was too much for me. But at least I could do that suspense. He's coming for you.
But it was almost a Jaws-like. It's coming.
Right. His music is simple and builds suspense. And keeps it going, even at parts where maybe nothing's going on. But he's got that music down there low, and it just keeps your tension high. I mean, the guy is a genius that way.
Right. Now, we've talked about Halloween before. Halloween is one of those movies that, whether you love it or hate it, you can't deny that it really kicked off the slasher film. It took it to the next level. There were slasher films before it.
Right, but not like that. I think that's one of the top 10 horror movies of all time.
Yeah, that really had a lot of tension. It had a lot of...
And he wasn't necessarily invincible.
But it was one of the first ones where, when he got back up, we were like, oh, he got back up. It's like when you watched Terminator when you were a kid. Yeah. And he keeps getting up. You're like, oh my God, he keeps getting up. Now, everything gets back up. Right. Michael Myers was one of the first ones that kept getting up.
And look what comes out of that movie. You get Jamie Lee Curtis, a legend, and they bring in Donald Pleasence in there.
He is evil.
He has the blackest eyes.
Dr. Loomis.
I mean, and he loved that role. I think I read where he was only on the set for 3 days.
Really?
They only shot that movie in like 2 weeks or something. But he was on the set for 3 days, and he was really wanted to keep that character going.
Did John Carpenter do the sequel?
Yeah. He did.
I thought the sequel was great. It picks up like 5 minutes after the first one. Yeah.
Yeah. Halloween 2 is awesome, and then Halloween 3.
Hot tub scene. Yeah, the Halloween series after 2 for me.
I mean, they're fun. They're kind of funny sometimes. The one where Jamie Lee Curtis, I think, was H2O.
Oh, when she comes back.
Yeah, I actually kind of like that one.
That has like famous people in it. Like Josh Hartnett is in it.
Oh yeah, it's got a ton of people in it. So I mean, but you can't beat Halloween 1 and Halloween 2. Were just hands down phenomenal. If you go before that, Assault on Precinct 13.
Now that was the one that it was, as a kid, you would hear of John Carpenter's other movies.
Yeah.
You know, and Assault on Precinct 13 was one of those movies that I used to hear in the same breath as stuff like The Warriors and other movies of that time.
If you watch it now, it's kind of like a zombie flick. It's kind of like we're holed up in here, and the thugs that are trying to get in, they kind of move. And John Carpenter has this continuing theme of, he doesn't do zombie movies, but he's got a lot of things that are like zombies who are coming through walls. He does that great scenes with hands and arms coming through walls in movies and stuff, and that kind of set the tone for him.
Assault on Precinct 13 is one of those classic, may not be the right word for it, but it's kind of a legendary movie.
And it deserves to be.
Renowned.
And
it's not necessarily a horror movie, but it's a...
Yeah. It's on the verge.
And there's a remake of it that, don't bother, go watch the original one.
The original's great. The remake's not too bad. I was shocked, but the original's so much better. He followed up Halloween with one of my favorites, The Fog.
The Fog.
Adrienne Barbeau as the sexy DJ. Jamie Lee Curtis is kind of like the whorish chick that, I can't remember his name, picks up.
It was Talk Like a Pirate Day. Once a year it's always Talk Like a Pirate Day, and I posted the picture of the ghostly pirates from The Fog on our Facebook page.
I love that movie. When they're like, they got that hook and they're hitting the window. Who is that? And John Houseman's in the beginning. Yes. Telling the little tale on the beach.
Yeah, The Fog, and everybody flocked to The Fog because of Halloween.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's another one.
I mean, it was really good. It didn't disappoint. Another good, creepy movie. My favorite that came right after that, The Thing.
Okay, see, that's my favorite too. I was waiting to see.
Is that your favorite? That's my favorite.
Because first of all, The Thing is in my top 5 horror movies of all time.
Yeah. I have, there we go, I have it on VHS. Still. I saw that movie
hundreds of times. Like,
I was speechless watching that movie.
It hit every button for me as a teenage horror fan. It had gore. It had awesome special effects. It had tension.
It had great characters.
Kurt Russell, who's the king.
It had some comedy. I mean, it was lighthearted at times, especially when they're Palmer and the other two are tied to the chairs and they hit the thing. It's like, would you let us out now? I mean, that's a great movie.
And they did a remake or a prequel to The Thing. We reviewed. Go back.
That's our most viewed episode.
Yeah,
like almost 1,000 views because we hated it.
And you can just see, like, there's moments of the remake that are okay, but the practical effects of The Thing, which you may watch now and go, oh, that looks fake or something, but what would a transforming monster that could go from, you know, a lump of dead dogs into a spidery thing,
right?
It would look.
Well, I mean, I think, and this is what happens with 3D graphics now, the CGI stuff, it's flat.
Yeah.
You know, when something's actually made, to your mind, there's a part of your mind that will believe that more than this flat CGI that they make that looks too perfect sometimes.
Yeah, and the remake also just lacked the characters and the...
Because you didn't care.
The claustrophobia.
Like, I cared about the characters in The Thing.
MacReady with his hat.
So... That was awesome.
The Thing, like, yeah, if you walk away from this movie, you hadn't seen the original Thing yet. Which, we call it the original Thing, but there was The Thing from Another World with James Arness.
Which, like, my father and his generation loved that movie, but I will say even my father loved John Carpenter's version of The Thing. So, yeah,
when we say the original one, we mean the John Carpenter one.
Yeah. Well, he does. When I say original, I mean the original, the carrot man. Now there's They Live.
Okay, let's get to They Live. They Live with Roddy Piper, my favorite wrestler. So this is, these aliens have come to Earth. infiltrated society.
You gotta get those specs.
And you have these like special glasses. Were they just ordinary sunglasses or were they special?
They were special.
And when you put them on, they had like these. You could see the aliens, and they had like this skeletal-looking face.
Yep.
And
Rowdy got the bust-out moves.
They would post signs up, so you'd look. If it's like just an advertisement as a billboard, you put on the glasses, and it would be obey.
Yeah, you can see all the subliminal stuff that was everywhere.
And so Roddy Piper gets to it's like a bank or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum. And I'm all out of bubble gum. I'm all out of gum.
That's Rowdy. Rowdy. He was my favorite too. Piper's Corner.
Piper's Pit.
Remember when he got Jimmy Superfly Snuka and he hit it with the coconuts?
He shot Morton Downey Jr. with a fire extinguisher. There's another scene in They Live. The fist fight between Roddy Piper and his buddy. That goes on for like
forever.
And it's just
like a Family Guy skit.
It's like the Family Guy fighting the chicken. He just wants his friend to put on the sunglasses. And the two of these guys, and you would recognize the guy. He's been in everything.
Right.
His name's escaped me. I'll put it up. The fist fight they have is worth watching.
That's definitely a Peter Griffin chicken fight.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all right. The other one I was going to bring up was Escape from New York.
Another Kurt Russell.
Donald Pleasence was in that one as well.
He's the president. So
you're the Duke of New York, #1. Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah.
Adrienne Barbeau was in that too. Well, Adrienne Barbeau was married to John Carpenter.
Oh, she was in it.
Yeah, that's why she was in all those movies with him.
What was she in? Maude?
Yeah. And then there's Maude.
And Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing.
Escape from New York, the premise is that they turn New York, the island of New York, into a prison. When they wall it up.
Stretch.
And then the president's plane crashes in the city, so Snake Plissken, this badass, they have to send him in.
On a glider, and he lands on top of the World Trade Center with the glider. And Ernest Borgnine's in it as the taxi cab driver. I mean, there's a ton of stuff. Oh, what's this guy? Shaft.
Oh, Richard Roundtree?
No. The guy who sang Shaft.
Oh, Isaac Hayes.
Isaac Hayes is in it, yeah, too. So there's a ton of people in that movie, and it's a great.
It's aged, but it's definitely watch it as a period piece.
I watched it last year with my daughter, who was 12 at the time. She loved it. Thought it was great.
Oh, that's a good
because the story holds up and it's still good.
The Escape from L.A. on the other hand, just skip it.
Yeah. Look, you got one good out of that franchise. And the other movie that I watched recently, Prince of Darkness, with Donald Pleasence again, and a host of other people.
Isn't the guy from Simon and Simon in that, the blonde guy?
Yes. And the nerdy guy from Riptide, the Boz.
Oh, yeah.
He's in it, too.
They have a whole NBC lineup, or CBS, whatever they were.
It was a cool thing where they go underneath this church, and there's this green fluid in this vat that... It turns out that Satan put his son in there or something, the essence of his son. Jesus was an extraterrestrial who came to tell people, to prove the mathematics of it, that it was real, and just the math wasn't there to believe him, so they killed him. So the apostles and all that were designed to protect this secret and keep it buried then until we were smart enough to figure out what was in there. It's actually, I loved it in the 80s. I really loved it.
See, I gotta revisit it, because for me, I thought it was boring as a kid.
You won't think it's boring now.
But I saw like 5 minutes of it, and there was like some stuff going on that I was like, oh, like some people had changed or something.
There's kind of like zombies in it.
Yeah, like they get possessed or something.
But there's also people are having these dreams. It's the same dream. And it's a transmission from the future, and you see this dark figure coming out of that church, and it always cuts off just before you figure out what it is.
I gotta revisit that one.
Yeah, absolutely, you have to.
Because, like I said,
so,
I think because it wasn't blatant enough for me as a kid.
Right. To me, though, 70s and 80s, if you needed horror, you went to John Carpenter. I mean, and he's still done a bunch of stuff since then, but nothing beats this probably 15, 20-year period where he was just prolific and at the top of his game.
Well, I could tell you, if you wanted to make a Halloween weekend, you can't go wrong with it. If you got The Thing, Halloween, and The Fog. Start with The Fog, watch Halloween, and then end it with The Thing. That's a great
That's
trifecta.
nice.
That'd be a good...
Might do that later.
Good, yeah. And then You know, get the soundtrack from Halloween and The Thing.
Yeah. Boom, boom. Boom, boom.
Okay, so go rent yourself a John Carpenter movie. Maybe listen to the Carpenters on your way back from the video store, if you're still going to video store.
The video store, yeah.
And we will see you next time on
Monster Men.
Arg.